What's up, everybody? Kyle the Drink Pro here with you yet again. Let me adjust my mic right quick. There we go. That's better. It's still a little bit quieter than I want it to be. Although I do get louder as the night goes on. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am Kyle the Drink Pro. I've got some really fun whiskeys here in front of me. What's up, Trev? What's up, Bourbon Baller? I see them in the chat. Trevor says, Mom says alligators are angry because they have all them teeth and no toothbrush. Good old water boy. I'm glad Trev appreciated the thumbnail. Shout out to Yolanda for making that thumbnail. That was a pretty fun one. Trev asked where Bourbon Baller was on Sunday. Yeah, I had the live stream for my patrons on Sunday. There will be another one soon, actually, maybe sooner than later, but it's going to be a secret pop-up, we'll call it, live stream. So keep an eye out for that. Oh, what did I get on my shirt? No, I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, hide it. Yeah, so today is going to be a fun video. I've got some wonderful barrel-proof whiskeys set out in front of me. And I need to grab my water dropper because that's the whole point of this stream. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Does whiskey taste better with water or not? Now, there's a lot of people who would basically dismiss this whole theme of the stream. They would say, of course whiskey isn't better with water. Drink whiskey like it's coming right out of the barrel. Something like you're stupid for thinking it wouldn't be. Whatever. But I think it's a valuable question. I think it's one that requires an inquiry because we always like to come to these kinds of things with assumptions. We assume that we like oaky whiskey or fruity. I always assume I like fruitier whiskey, and then I find whiskey that I really love that doesn't have any fruit component. And so those expectations are definitely something that works well to test and to put aside, and they really color your experience of the whiskey. So if you want, this is the same reason I like blinding whiskeys. If you want to find out how you really feel about something, try it when you don't know what it is. You got to turn off those expectations sometimes, and I think this is going to be a fun way to do it. So, Bourbon Baller says, water helps whiskey that is flat. I have had that experience for sure. Today, I'm at least starting with several barrel-proof whiskeys. Phone Doctor 123, what's up, my man? Cheers. Yeah, I'm starting with several barrel-proof whiskeys. I may move to something here in the back that's lower proof, specifically maybe some scotches later on in the night, because that's a very common practice in Scotland. While in America, people are often shamed for adding water to their whiskey. A lot of Scotch drinkers, they just, as a default, add water, and not just a couple drops, a relatively significant amount of water to their whiskey. That's a common way to drink whiskey, Scotch and water, but it's never really translated to the States for various reasons. So we're gonna see how I feel about water, whiskey with water and whiskey without water. It's not gonna be terribly scientific, but it will be fun. So we'll see how it goes. Bourbon Baller says no flavor. It sometimes pulls flavor out. Definitely true. Flat whiskeys that are too hot, that need to be cooled down. Whiskeys that are dense, that may benefit from opening up. There's a lot of situations where I do tend to believe water makes them better, but we're going to find out definitively tonight. So let me put down this box and get out a glass. I don't want to jump head first into the barrel-proof whiskey. By the way, guys, these are still for sale. Drink Pro glasses. Just email me. thedrinkpro@gmail.com. You can also message me. I sell these usually for $15 a pop. That will get it. Oh, the dog's acting crazy again. I will ship them if I get orders of 2 or 4, and then bigger than that we can do custom orders. But 2 and 4, orders of 2 and 4 I will ship. So yeah. Oh, I'll keep that up. Oh, it doesn't. Unfortunately, that only has my Venmo. Well, then you know the price of glasses. So if you Venmo me the price of glasses, I will ship them to you. Patreons, obviously, my patron members know they can reach out to me and buy glassware at any time. Right. But the email is thedrinkpro@gmail.com. So let's get a warm-up whiskey here. What do I want to warm up with? Let's warm up with some McKenna 10 here. Because, McKenna, bottled and bond, it's a 10-year-old whiskey. It's 50% alcohol, so it's not crazy. Bourbon Box says, I'm celebrating day number 2 with some Pappy 15. I got a clean bill of health, tumor-free. Congratulations, Bourbon Baller. That's great news, my man. Nate's in the chat. What's up, Nate? So let's go ahead and just start the night with an easy sip of McKenna 10. This is barrel 6760. It was barreled on 3/20/2009. Some people really pay attention to those barrel numbers. Phone Doctor says Stag Junior Batch 8. I do have a couple of Stag Juniors in the mix here. I don't know if I've got Batch 8. I definitely have Batch 4, Batch 3, and Batch 13. Trevor says McKenna is so hit or miss. I have had some great barrels and some just okay ones. I mean, this thing for me is beautifully sweet. Definitely fruity. Actually, this is fruitier than a lot of the Heaven Hill products I've had. It's just, I am such a sucker for a nice fruity nose. I get like legitimate juicy fruit gum on the nose on this. And there's obviously this sort of classic Heaven Hill nuttiness. Trevor's giving his liver a break. That's not a bad move. There's definitely this Heaven Hill nuttiness. Sort of like a classic oak and peanuts. But the first thing you smell sticking your nose in the glass is juicy fruit gum, which is just beautiful. And if you breathe in kind of slow, I almost get like a cantaloupe or some kind of melon. Maybe honeydew. It's pretty subtle, but there's definitely a melon note in this particular barrel. Single barrels are funny, man. You never know what you're going to get with a single barrel. They vary so much. They can be so damn different from each other. That's why people always ask me, they ask me about Blanton's, or they'll ask me about McKenna, they'll ask me about E.H. Taylor single barrel, or Elmer T. Lee, or Rock Hill Farms. So many, especially with the single barrel Buffalo Trace, but really any single barrel, Elijah Craig 18. I hear people that shit on these products, and they're like, it's overrated. And I'm like, yes and no. I always feel like most of those products that I just listed off, I've had really good batches and really mediocre batches. And with something where you're paying $60, $80, $130, you can't afford a mediocre batch. And so, like, if you can guarantee that the Elijah Craig 18 you're buying is a good version, a good batch, a good barrel, then I think it's worth it all day. But you're rolling the dice. And if the just okay version of the Elijah Craig 18 is a $60 bottle and you're paying $130 for it, that's the gamble. That's why it's not worth it for a lot of people. And I feel like Blanton's is sort of notorious for that. I've had some Blantons that were actively bad. And then I've had some that were legitimately phenomenal. And I'm not talking about just the older ones, too. There are older ones that are great, but there are some relatively new Blantons I've had that were quite good. Mike McAllister's in the chat. What's going on, everyone? Cheers, brother. Okay, so, this McKenna 10. Ooh, definitely getting some grape now as well. It's all artificial, though. There's not a lot of natural fruits in this particular barrel. It's very artificial, candy, fruity, sweet. So it's like grape nerds and juicy fruit. And then the more I keep smelling it, then all that, the nuttiness, the oakiness, all that comes back. Really balanced nose. Let's go ahead and taste this, and then we'll add some water and see what happens. Now that tastes a lot oakier than it smells. Honestly, I mean, 10 years on oak is a lot of time in bourbon world. Obviously, there are bourbons with much more time on oak, but it takes a very specific barrel of bourbon to have 18...
Did you not walk her before you started streaming?
Yeah, why?
She's freaking the fuck out.
Well, I would walk her again just in case. I don't think she did anything.
She might need to... It's almost time for dinner.
Well, I would try nonetheless. Yolanda just got home and is asking about the dog. Great streaming content.
Oh, here's some more great streaming content. FDIC started. I've never seen so many fucking middle-aged white men on scooters before. Literally blocking entire streets, riding scooters. Came back from the grocery store.
They can't see you.
I know. Fire department conference started.
I'm surprised Mike McAllister isn't out here. He deals with the fire trucks.
I don't know. I just know the conference started, and there are hundreds of middle-aged white men. I hit this.
Oh.
The world is falling!
Stop it! It's making me nervous. I got hundreds of bottles in here. Gosh. Yolanda's going to give me a heart attack. I forgot the Hall of Fame game was tonight, Nate. Hope it's a good one. Mike Meyer says, cheers, guys. Cheers, my man. But yeah, this McKenna really is a lot more oaky than I remember it being. And again, the nose is so fruit forward, so artificially sweet almost, that I'm a little surprised and honestly a little put off by the oak. Let's taste it again. Yeah. Bitter. Very nutty. A little bit of sweet grain. And then, oh yeah, then you get like toasted marshmallow. Mike Meyer just said, on behalf of all the middle-aged white guys, I apologize for whatever we did. Mike Meyer in the chat said, on behalf of all the middle-aged white guys, I apologize for whatever we did. So,
y'all are blocking entire roads in Indianapolis, riding scooters like you're 15.
I mean, I can't say anything.
No, but you at least wear polos.
That's why it
fit.
smells like vanilla. You smell like vanilla. You're poisoning my tasting, baby.
It's my hand sanitizer, I think.
Oh.
At least your polos fit.
Barely. You can see my nipples.
Well, but that's because you wear golf polos.
That's because my nipples are very prominent.
And you're telling the internet.
They already know. They've seen them 100 times. They watch my videos and my streams.
No, seriously.
I'm gonna have to get like I can't wear pasties because I got too much hair on my chest. Like it doesn't work.
Uh-huh. But you wear the appropriate length and fit.
Well, maybe. How were they wearing them?
Like 3 sizes too small.
So they were like, oh,
yes.
Oh, yeah, it's good stuff.
On scooters.
Yeah.
Also, I saw my sister.
Oh, that's
she
fun.
did not recognize me, which is interesting since I was in my own car. And no one has my car.
That was Yolanda. If you aren't familiar with the channel, she pops in from time to time to berate me.
Also, I'm in an exceptionally good mood, so
she's
very little berating.
She's in a good mood, so not a lot of berating today. Mike says he doesn't go to FDIC, too much politics. I can believe that. Nate says it seems too early for the nipple talk. Well, that just kind of sets you up. Now you know what kind of stream this is going to be tonight. We might have lost a couple people over that, but it'll happen. Let's add some water to this and see if I can't get something besides oak on the palate. Now, I've got this fancy dancy dropper that Yolanda bought me. And it's got a pot still on top. So, but it's a little hard to control. So you just kind of add, oh, that worked pretty well. 2, 3. Hey, I'm getting the hang of this thing. I'm going to add 5 drops of water. I'm learning. Okay. We'll slosh it around. Bourbon Baller says never too early for nipple talk. Well, on the nose, it's kind of interesting because I've gotten a lot more cinnamon. The baking spices really showed up, and that could be a reduction in the density of those oaky notes and those nutty notes. Now remember, this is 100 proof already, so proofing it down even a few drops of water in this much whiskey, it'll make a difference. Bourbon Baller says 5 drops might be excessive. Ah. I almost get some mintiness on this now. Let's taste it. I think the taste is going to probably be affected more and in a more interesting way for me, for my palate. I'll go like this. I think the taste will be more interestingly affected for me than, there we go. I think taste will be more interestingly affected for me than the smell. I will say I enjoy it more. The oakiness that I was kind of complaining about is much less prominent, and it's much less bitter. So it does balance it out a lot. It gets a little sweeter, and the nuttiness shows up. Bourbon Baller wants me to only try 3 drops. I'm telling you, Baller, like, I've seen people put a shitload of water in their whiskeys. Like, some of those Scotch drinkers, they're proofing it down 10%. I'm not planning on doing that, but I think 5 drops is just fine. Especially once I get to the barrel proof. Maybe 3 was the right number for 100 proof, but when I'm putting 120 plus proof in this thing, I'm doing 5 drops. I mean, I will say, I like that better. It didn't reduce the flavor so much as to make it feel watered down, but it balanced out a lot of the rough edges. The oakiness became a little bit sweeter, a little bit more woody instead of bitter. I think a lot of good things came from that, so that's cool to know. Mike Meyer said that's a good-looking row of Booker's boxes on the top shelf. Yes, sir, and I got a couple more down here in the corner because I've got Booker's. We'll be visiting those in just a second. I think the next logical step up in the proof, we're going to move to some 60% boys. We went from 10. We went from 100, and now we'll go to 110. We'll just keep moving up 5. So this is Russell's Reserve Private Barrel Select. This is from the Mammoth Liquors Valentine's Day, Warehouse F, Floor 6. You can see it's just about 10 years and some change old. This was a pick I got from one of my patrons. Shout out to my patron who got this for me. But it wasn't my favorite bottling, I gotta be honest. And so I'm kind of hoping that a little bit of water might do some good for me. Now again, 55%, so we're moving up 5% alcohol. We're gonna do that a couple times. Mike Meyer says, I'm usually too lazy or too slammed to add water, but I really need to try it sometime. It's definitely worth trying. Especially if you have whiskeys you don't necessarily like, or that feel too... the flavors are too strong in one way or the other, or they're too weak in one way or the other. We talked about this before in the chat. Bourbon Baller mentioned that, there were certain whiskeys where it was really a whiskey that was just too flat. It just wasn't giving you enough character. And that can definitely happen sometimes. Sometimes those can just not be what you're looking for. So I definitely recommend it. What's going on here? There we go. Excuse me. You can definitely smell the increase in proof. And Wild Turkey, I mean, just as a general rule, if you compare Heaven Hill and Wild Turkey, they're meaningfully different on the nose. Wild Turkey shows up a little bit sharper. I think this is a higher rye mash bill than what I was smelling before. Matter of fact, is McKenna... I'm trying to think. McKenna, I don't remember the mash... Somebody look it up, the mash bill on McKenna, because I can't recall it. Put it in the chat. Because I'm thinking... I mean, the rye just really is showing up a lot more for me on the Russells. Yeah, I mean, you get that sort of nice... People talk about the Wild Turkey funk from these older 70s and 80s bottlings. It's still there in these modern pours. It's just not as obvious. It doesn't stand out so aggressively. If you compare a 70s or 80s turkey to a modern turkey, yeah, the Wild Turkey funk really shows up, but it's still in the modern pours. I definitely get this sort of like dusty corn and this almost like sweet and sour kind of note. Not like sweet and sour sauce, but like you can smell the fermentation in a way. Like when you think about like fermenting fruit and it has a sourness to it, not a sharpness, but a sourness. Kind of get that on the nose. It's still pretty bright. The rye grain's definitely prominent. The citrus is showing up for me. I wish I had a little stand so I could put a bottle here.
You would knock it over.
So I would knock it over, definitely. But I wish I had a little stand so you could see what bottle I was reviewing the whole time that I talk about it. So when new people come in, they can see what I'm reviewing. With a bottle like this, though, I kind of need like two sides so that you can see the...
You need a bottle cam.
So you can see... Ooh, I do need a bottle cam. And with this Patreon, or not Patreon, with the OBS app I got over here, I could like set it up so you could see up in the corner, like bottle cam, you could see what I was drinking. That's a good idea, baby. We may be buying a bottle cam. She loved that idea. You can't see her off screen. Just put her head in her hands. Oh, that's fun. Things we shouldn't say on the internet. Okay. Phone Doctor, me too, never had a Russell I didn't like. I have. I'm not the biggest... I like a lot of Wild Turkey stuff, but I have had some Russells that weren't really my jam. Mike Meyer says, I think I prefer Rare Breed to Russells, but I haven't blind tasted them. Both are great. Rare Breed is going to be higher proof. It's going to give you more oomph. Rare Breed, though... I will say I think on average I prefer Rare Breed, but I will say that Russells can have some higher highs. There are some Russells I far prefer to Rare Breed, but there are also some Russells that I don't like as well as Rare Breed. Rare Breed's one of those things that it's great to always have on the shelf, though. I mean, at the price point, it's hard to beat. But yeah, I think I pretty much exhausted the nose. Light sweet caramel, I guess. I didn't mention that. Maybe a hint of toffee. But otherwise, you get that turkey funk. You get a little bit of the, like a light oakiness. Definitely get citrus. All right, let's go ahead and taste this pick. Wow, okay. So, now this bottle, I don't remember how long this bottle's been open, but it's been open for a while. And you can see how full it is. About 2/3 probably, maybe closer to half. It's really mellowed out from my recollection. I remember it being a lot more bitter. I mean, up front, like peanut shells, salt, like dark chocolate, bitter oak, hazelnut. Not very sweet. There is a little bit of like corn syrup on the finish, but it's pretty subtle. Bourbon Baller says if you put a splash of Cleveland whiskey in a gallon jug of water, it's close to drinkable. I don't remember if I showed this on my last stream, but near the end tonight we'll review this. I'm probably gonna do a full video of it, but I'll get a nip of it before the end of the night, and we'll talk about it. All right, one more nip on this, and then we'll add some water. I'll probably have to get a refill. Excuse me, man. After dinner, I got all these minty burps, and it's terrible. Gross. There it is. That third drink, I got a lot of bitter oak. Not what I want. All right. Let's add a little bit of water to it. 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops. Just to spite Bourbon Baller, I'm going to do 5 drops. Do 5 little drops. That was more like 5 big drops. Trevor says, better get Schlammer to tolerate Cleveland. Yeah, that's not happening. I got work tomorrow, and I got quite the big event on Saturday, so I'm not getting hammered tonight. Mike Myers says he thinks he watched I Whiskey She Wines pour a bottle of it down the drain. Yeah, I've heard nothing but bad about Cleveland, so I'm sure that's going to be a real gem. Shout out to Joe Girdham in the IBWE whiskey group. He provided me with that bottle. Just gave me the whole bottle, which is probably not a good sign. Oh, interesting. Huh. So, again, the cinnamon really came out. I wonder if that's going to be a trend that we're going to continue to see, the baking spices being really brought out by the water. If so, I do not hate that trend because I really enjoy baking spice in a whiskey. I get a lot more vanilla, too. The vanillins are really pulled out by the water, so this becomes a lot more like not a ginger snap. I'm trying to think what would it be, like a cinnamon... Like a snickerdoodle? Is that a cinnamon cookie? I'm trying to think of a cinnamon cookie that isn't gingery. That's kind of what this is.
Cinnamon roll?
Yeah. It's not as sweet as a cinnamon roll, though. It's got that shortbread cookie kind of vibe. But definitely cinnamony. Mike says, have you had any rabbit hole? I've actually had several rabbit hole offerings. I have a video that you should check out where I toured the Rabbit Hole Distillery with their head of digital marketing, I think was his title, Adam. It's a fun video we put together. You should definitely check it out. My good buddy Eric, he helped film the whole thing with his much fancier camera than what I'm using right now. And he showed me some tips and tricks to get the editing right the way we wanted it. So that was a fun one. That was a good video. I highly recommend it. That video didn't get the love it deserved. I'll say that. Bourbon Ball Cleveland whiskey should come in a toilet-shaped bowl. Yeah, I've never heard anybody like it. Nate's putting the young into bed. But yeah, once you get past that initial hit of vanilla and that initial hit of cinnamon, this is pretty similar to what it was before. Maybe a little bit of coffee, but the oakiness has become more bitter, so I'm worried about that. Let's taste it and find out how it is. Yeah, that didn't get any better. That got worse. This case, the water just diluted everything. It was already a very balanced pour, but not balanced in a way I like. And now it's too soft and still kind of bitter. The thing is, for me, though, I'm very sensitive to the bitterness. Bitterness is something I really, really don't like in a whiskey. And so, even though I feel like it lost something, let me put a little bit more of the normal in there. Just back to back to back. Just a touch. Just a little nip there. Because my instinct is that it got worse, but then I kind of said to myself, well, but I kind of like it better. So I can't call it worse if I like it better. Mike says, I haven't heard the best reviews and I'm curious. I think it's fine. I tried not to give a lot of superlatives in that video because I was right next to Adam. I would say on the whole, Rabbit Hole is fine. Their limited releases tend to be very tasty, but they also tend to be quite expensive. I think the best thing I had from Rabbit Hole, I think their Derringer is pretty good. If you like a finished whiskey. I think their gin is pretty good, which is gin aged in their rye barrels, which was very well done. You know, I have some Rabbit Hole over here. Oops. I have Rabbit Hole High Gold, and this was actually one of my very early reviews. I reviewed this very early on. And you can see it's about half full. I'll, you know what, just to humor you, I'll take a quick sip, snag. We'll, shadow, oh, that was too much. Take a quick sip from McAllister here. I mean, it's pretty grain forward. It is young. It's 3 years old. So, it's bright. I mean, this has been like this for a while. Keep that in mind. This has been half full for a while. I get a lot of grain. Bright. Citrus. I get more blueberry than you'd expect. But it's artificial blueberry. It's like blueberry gummies. There's a little bit of a sour note, like a sour cherry or a sour grape. It's a fine bourbon, but the grain shows up too much on the finish. The High Gold. Now, like I said, I think their finished products kind of deal with that by adding something else that shows up at the end. So when you finish it in the sherry barrel, I think it's PX sherry finish. When you finish it in the sherry barrel, that sherry sweetness comes through at the end and helps cancel out that grain forward note, which kind of turns me off to this bottle. I don't think it's bad, but I'm probably not going to buy another one. I will probably buy some of the Derringer in the near future, though. Phone Doctor, I haven't had a Rick F. Is that what you have there, Kyle, on the Russells? It is. This is Warehouse F. Not Rick F, but yeah, this is Warehouse F Floor 6. They do not tell you the Rick on these bottlings, at least not in a normal way. They say barrel, well, they say barrel 19-1929, so that might disclose the Rick. I haven't spent enough time learning about barrel numbering from Wild Turkey to know that for sure, just because it's something I haven't explored that much. I like Wild Turkey fine, but most of their single barrels are not my favorite pour in the world, so I just haven't put the energy in. No, adding water definitely made this worse. Tasting it again after trying something else, but also after having the watered down version of this Russell's, the bitterness is a less prominent on the finish in the watered down version, but the rest of the palate is a lot more interesting. It's got more character. It's just too damn flat. Too damn flat when you add water. I'm actually going to make 2 piles back here so I can keep track. Okay. Now, we're going to bump it up a little bit. And we're going to move to Knob Creek. We are really going through all of the distilleries here. The McKenna 10 from Heaven Hill, which got better with water. The Russell's Reserve single barrel from Mammoth, that got worse with water. And now we're going with the Knob Creek. Can I get to focus? It's not really focusing. There we go. The Knob Creek, the Crown Liquors, barrel 7976, Warehouse W, floor 2, Rick R050. This is a 14.5 year bottling. Exactly 14 year, 8 month. Okay. Mike McAllister, that's for sure. Hit the like button, everybody. Subscribe if you haven't been subscribed. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna do a fun giveaway when I get there. I'm really close. I'm only like 70 people away from 1,000 subs. So if you can help me get to 1,000, that would be amazing. I would appreciate it so damn much. Please consider subscribing and share it with your friends. All right, Knob Creek. Here we go. Good old Fred No. All right. Now, of the 3 I've tried so far, this is the most citrus fruit. Actually, it's also the most like apple-y. I get like apples and pears on this. A lot of wood. Pretty sharp on the nose, actually. Now, again, we've stepped up. We went from 50% with the McKenna 10 to 55% with the Russells. Now we're at 60%. 60% with the Knob Creek. And again, this is an older bottle. It's been open for a while. This is the lowest of any I've had so far. Less than half, so this one's getting kilt in the near future. I think one of the notes that often comes from Knob Creek and Booker's and whiskey from this particular distillery has a nuttiness. That's a classic note, and not the same kind of nuttiness as Heaven Hill. This is often almost a peanuttiness. But this particular pick is not very nutty. I get a lot of lemon flesh. Yolanda doesn't like when I say meat of the lemon as opposed to the rind or the zest, but I think that calling it lemon flesh is way worse. But that's what it is. If I wanted to get technical, I'd call it lemon flesh.
Why are you talking about flesh?
Lemons, because you don't like lemon meat, but lemon flesh is way worse.
No, flesh is way worse.
That's what I meant. Yeah, flesh is way worse, but it's more technically correct than meat.
I don't care. I don't want you to eat any flesh.
Well, you cooked flesh tonight, so I don't know.
Stop.
She loves... Well, they can't hear you. I don't know if you realize this. They can't hear you that far off camera.
I just want you to stop using the word flesh.
Lemon skin.
That's fine.
It's not the skin, though. It's
The meat.
the meat.
Lemon wedges.
No. Mike says if you know, you know. That's pretty funny. Well done, Mike. Well done. This has a nice oakiness to it. Travis is talking meat and flesh, LOL. You never know what you're going to get on this podcast. This is not a podcast. You never know what you're going to get on this live stream. Sometimes it'll be meat and flesh. Sometimes it'll be nipples. And sometimes I'll drink whiskey on occasion, I guess. Okay, let's taste it. I'm having a hard time giving good notes on the nose. Sweet and citrusy, though. Definitely shows up. I get a lot of, like, red apples. Oh, wow. So that's my favorite one so far. I haven't had this barrel pick in a while, and I forgot how much I liked it. This is really good. Oh, yeah. Now, mid-palate, it gets bitter oak real quick. But the finish is nice and gentle and nutty. It becomes a lot more peanut shell and a lot less bitter tannin barrel oak. Bitter oak barrel tannin. That's the order. Long finish without being too peppery or spicy also. It's got a nice, long, creamy, sweet finish, which is pretty uncommon. Why is my nose so itchy? Huh. Alright, let's take a third taste. I may have to revisit this. This is a good bottle. Third taste, I get a lot more bitterness up front. A lot more sharpness. There's still this sweetness throughout it. It's sort of like caramel apple. The apple actually definitely shows up. Shows up late. Finish for sure. Front of the palate, I'm not getting the apple, but finish, it's showing up. Oh, fuck. Early in the palate, though, it's just like bitter oak and black pepper. Mid-palate, the black pepper shows up more. Bitterness starts to subside. Your tongue starts to tingle. You get like Szechuan peppercorns. A slight tingly numbness on the tongue. And then the sweetness shows up. You get a little bit of that apple niceness, and the creamy caramel shows up. Man, my whole face has gotten itchy. What the hell? Ah. Okay. Sure, that's good. That's good content right there. Okay. Let's add some water to it and see what happens. Ah! There we go. I actually just remembered, I usually try to keep the cork out of my focus. You were doing so good before. There you go. I usually keep the corks out a little bit from my knob creeks because they are very, very, very tight. Mike Meyer says, are we heading up to the Obtainium 147 proof? It's good stuff. I don't have the 147 proof. I've got the 138.9 proof. Matter of fact, the people from Obtainium, from Cat's Eye Distillery, were supposed to send me a little care package to review. They never did that. I think they got in close with ADHD Whiskey and said, he's got more of an audience. Fuck you, Kyle. Which, I get it. Business is business, but it makes me sad because I was really looking forward to doing a more in-depth video and maybe even a live stream with the guys from Cat's Eye. So, if you're still interested, reach out to me. I'm guessing you aren't, but that's your loss. That's your loss. ADHD is fine. Matt's a good guy. But I like my videos a little better. A little better. This is a little friendly banter, right? Okay. I gotta not just drink this stuff, but I do really like it. I gotta add water to it. That's the whole video. Okay. 1. Come on. 2. Oh, I don't know how many drops that was, but that was enough drops. That's what happens with this freaking thing. As cool as this is, it is not accurate. Okay. So some amount of water in this glass. Ooh, it really brought that fruitiness out. Now I'm getting tons of peaches. Lots of peaches and blueberries and raspberries. I get like raspberry cobbler. That sweet raspberry crust breadiness. A lot of cinnamon sugar. No, not cinnamon. Like ginger and sugar. Ooh. Hell of a lot of lemon zest on that, too. Man, this opened up beautifully on the nose. Like, a lot and very nicely. So, let's see what the taste does. I feel like that made it way worse. All right. Let's, just because of the uncertain and inconsistent amount of water that I just added, we're just going to add a couple of drops to another pour. Because I'm really scratching my head as to what just happened there. I'm just going to add 3 drops. Actually, add a little bit more whiskey because I added 5 drops instead of 3. But something very strange has happened. Something very, very strange happened. Okay, now that smells more like I would expect it to. So, the smell didn't change as much. Brings out the baking spice. It definitely brings out the caramel and the sweetness. But it's still got a lot of sharpness. The fruit doesn't show up on the nose, but I don't... If the fruit shows up on the nose and the palate's garbage, then I don't really care. All right, let's taste it. So, a small amount of water killed all the bitterness, but it left a pretty bland pour. It's just sweet, honey, caramel, vanilla, mid-palate black pepper, finish very gentle oak. But the bitterness is all but gone, which is weird. You know, I think it's probably at its best unadulterated, straight up. It's got a little bitterness that I don't love, but there's so much else happening. There's so much more nuance and more flavor, more character. You add a little bit of water, a lot of that character is lost, but the bitterness is gone. So if you can't do bitterness at all, it's an option. But when you add a lot of water, the only thing that shows up is the bitterness. So go figure on that one. Definitely definitely learned something on this Knob Creek. Weird. Oh, damn it. There we go. I got the cork too far in there and just causing problems. Okay. Well, since we're on this distillery tour, this was not my intention, but it's just kind of happening. We've had Heaven Hill. We've had... what was the second one we had? Russell's. So we've had Heaven Hill. We've had Wild Turkey. We've had Beam. Why don't you say we have some Old Forester? Let's get some Brown Foreman up in this bitch. Now that wasn't very descriptive, but this one sure is. These are 2 Old Forester single barrel strength picks. The Spice Jam and the Honey Hole. I tasted these not too long ago on a stream. These are bottles that I split with Trevor. That's the kind of perk you get for being at the $50 level in the Patreon. Bourbon Baller says, when you get to the Bookers, do it in a 1-gallon jug. I don't know if I have any empty 1-gallon jugs, to be honest, Bourbon Baller. I don't drink a lot of things in gallon form. All right, I'm going to need another glass for this, because I want 1 glass for each of these bad boys. Wait a minute. Do I have another stag? I do. We might go horde on the stag. It's going to be a long night. Okay. Now this is Old Forester. Focus. It's not going to focus. Okay. You can read it from there. Old Forester. Honey Hole. Single barrel strength. 62.25%. It's warehouse H, floor 3. This is the 2020 Big Red Liquors pick. This is warehouse K. Oh, come on. There you go. Warehouse K, floor 5, 63.85. It is the Spice Jam pick. Also from Big Red in 2020. These were sister picks. Trevor says the water helped out the Old Foresters. Bourbon Butler says Old Forester barrel strength rye is solid. I have not had that yet. I would really like to do a video on it. Heard nothing but good things. Okay. Let's pour out a couple of wee drams of the Old Forester. We're drinking the I don't know what accent that is. We're drinking the single barrel strength. Now we're getting into the Scottish. My terrible Scottish accent. Aye. We're drinking the barrel strength whiskey. Just sound like Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. Okay. Wow. Yeah. That banana nut bread shows the fuck up. In both of them. A lot more in the honey hole. Honey hole is just straight up like honey and banana nut bread. Like, Bourbon Baller says, I've had 4 Old Forester barrel strength picks. They were all crap. Well, that's too bad. They haven't been my favorite. I will say that. I have had a couple that I liked, but none of them were really, like, astounding to me. I hate to say it, but I think Old Forester might have been onto something with 90 proofing their barrel picks. Like, sometimes people just know, and they changed it for the consumers because the consumers wanted 100 proof and they wanted barrel strength, but the best barrel picks that I've had from Old Forester were 90 proofers. They just were. Now, maybe it's because they were older, but I don't know. Okay. Now, the Spice Jam, you get a lot more deep, sweet, like almost molasses. Slightly bitter. Way more spice on the nose. Obviously, it's called Spice Jam. Still get that banana quality. Still get the breadiness. The nuttiness doesn't show up as much as on Honey Hole. And the banana on Honey Hole is a lot more like a fresh banana, whereas the banana on Spice Jam is a lot more subtle. It's in fact, Honey Hole almost has like a Bananas Foster vibe. Howdy, Nick Hop. Hi, Nick Hopkins. I already can't say Nick's name. That's not a good start. We're only 52 minutes into this stream. Howdy, Nick Hopkins. Yeah, so the Spice Jam, for me, definitely deeper, richer, making spice for sure, but all of the notes are a lot more deep and dark and mysterious and brooding. The Honey Hole is light, sweet, fresh, airy. Okay, let's taste them both. Honey Hole for starters, because it's a lower proof. Sweet, light, bitter, oak. Oh, and I forgot to mention. I didn't forget to mention. I mentioned the proofs on these, but so we went McKenna 50%, Russell's 55%, Knob Creek 60%, Old Foresters, these are both 62, 63%. So keep bumping it up. And that trend will continue in our next pour. Nick said he's late to the game, but he made it. Hey, as long as you make it. Yeah, the Honey Hole is just, I get more oakiness and more breadiness early on.
It's fine.
Whoa!
It's really fine.
Okay.
What is the melon that is green? Because in the TikTok, she says honeydew, but honeydews are orange.
Yeah, I did not buy a honeydew, I guess.
No, you bought a honeydew.
What?
But in the TikTok, she isn't cutting up a honeydew.
I don't think I bought a honeydew.
You did buy a honeydew.
It was called a honey something else.
It's a honeydew. It's orange.
Okay.
What's the green melon that has a smooth... Yeah, that's what I came to ask.
Put it in the chat.
Because honeydews are orange. Unless my melon game is just
Smell that.
real whack. Hang on. I'm drinking mead in the other room. What am I looking for?
I mean, for me, this is bitter honey.
There's definitely an astringency.
Bitter honey. There's some sort of like
burnt
herbal.
clove.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's like herbal spice and clove in the mid palate on this.
No melons. Okay, I'll Google it.
Honey hole's fine. It's not my favorite. Let's go to the spice. Oh, where are you going? Come back here. Let's move to the spice jam.
I'm trying to cook our food for tomorrow.
Okay, the spice jam. Obviously a lot more spicy, a lot more black pepper in the mid palate. Ooh. Nate says honeydew is a green melon.
Well, then what's the orange one?
I don't know.
Cantaloupe. You bought a cantaloupe.
What was I supposed to buy?
A honeydew.
What's a honeydew?
That list I keep giving you.
Are you sure? Okay, so let's talk about the spice jam for a minute.
I mean, there are two. There's the honeydew list, and then there's the honeydew melon. Spelled differently, of course.
Can I have more water?
Yeah.
No, can you get me more
Yes,
water?
I will get you more water. I'm also talking to my sister, who's not doing very well.
So, Mike Meyer says, honeydew is green, I believe, but I'm a middle-aged white guy. Muskmelon, a.k.a. cantaloupe, is orange. Muskmelon. I like that name.
Well, you bought a cantaloupe.
Muskmelon.
Cantaloupe is a pretty funny name.
No, but muskmelon. Ugh.
You're forced into a wedding. You can't elope. I don't like this one. I don't like either of them. But this one smells dirty.
Does it smell like muskmelon?
I mean, kind of. It smells dirty to me.
Yeah, that's how I like my melons. Dirty melons. Dirty melons. Hey, everybody, I'm the drink pro. I got me some dirty melon whiskey. This thing really, I don't know why, I'm just stuck in this voice now. This thing really smells like... Oh, I'm doing the tasting. I already gave you the nosing notes. You know, Nate said, I don't understand how you down water like that. That was like half a cup and you took it like a shot. Yeah. Hey, baby, can you bring me 2 of those? I wanna impress Nate with my water chugging skills.
Okay, I don't know where your other one is.
Just bring me 1 and I'll kill it and you can go get another. So, the first time I tried these, and several subsequent times, I've always preferred the spice jam. But now that we're getting down to the nubbins,
Nate, this is also why he can eat so fast.
I feel like the spice jam has stayed pretty spicy, but it's gotten more bitter and less nuanced and less sweet, whereas the honey hole, the sweetness stuck around, but it like more characteristics came out. There was some more fruitiness, there was more lightness. Yeah, so this is a lot of water.
It's like 20 ounces at least. Probably more.
It's more than that. I measured, I think it was 28 or 30. It was close to 32, but not quite.
I don't think it's 32.
No, it's not 32, but it's close. Akeem the Dream says, hey, yo, give me the rum. Cheers. Hit the spot. I needed that, actually. With all this barrel strength whiskey, that was probably a good move. But now I have to wait for more water to do the water testing. Akeem the Dream is in the chat and he wants the rum. We don't have rum today. Trav says, that's how I drink my liquid IV. Chug the whole glass at once. Mike says, I'm middle-aged and middle-waged. That typo worked okay. Amen to that, brother. I keep telling you a lot I'm middle-aged, and she doesn't like that. Because I'm only 31. But, you never know. Yeah, I'm surprised. I think the honey hole has really came into its own over time. It's kept that beautiful banana nut bread sweet creaminess, whereas the spice jam, it's lost most of that and instead retained a lot of oakiness. Thank you, baby. Yeah, yeah, Nate would just waterboard himself on accident. All right, let's add a couple of drops of water. Oops, that actually went on the outside. 1, 2, 3. That actually works a lot better than doing the other way. 1, 2, 3. No, but it's working better than the way I was using it. It's a lot more control. Okay. We'll give that a second to sort of settle in. By the way, guys, if you want more fun content... Uh-oh. There we go. If you want more fun content from me, please consider joining my Patreon, patreon.com/thedrinkpro. $3 a month. You get access to tons of cool exclusive videos, unedited content on a regular basis. You know, I think it's a really good value. The $12 level, Nate keeps saying that's where it's at because you get access to bottle raffles. You get access to samples on a regular basis. You can go up even higher and get cost plus shipping benefits where I'll find bottles in the wild, send you photos if you want them, I'll get them to you. All kinds of cool stuff out there. And don't forget the quarterly merch. I'll go ahead and show this because it just came out. This quarter's merch, I got these custom bamboo coasters made. These are really cool. A local friend of mine, he's a member of the Naptown Drinking Club, Naptown Bourbon Club. He got these commissioned, and so the $25 level and up got their hands on these. Bourbon Baller mentioned the $25 level, but you have to be in it for a couple. Got to be in it for a couple of months to get your hands on these. So once Bourbon Baller gets those couple months under his belt, he will be getting some of these as well. He's close. He's close. And you could be too. Just join the Patreon. Patreon.com/thedrinkpro. Okay, that's enough of the ad. Akeem says, damn, that dropper is lit. Yeah, man, this was a great present. It's actually got a little Glencairn around here somewhere too that goes right there. But yeah, this is a great little present that Yolanda got me. With its barrel stave holder, the little pot still on top of it. Why does this have so much trouble focusing? You know, I see a bunch of YouTubers all the time that they do this to show off things, and my frickin' camera can't do it. There we go, finally. It's got a thumb hole right there. Nice little tapering. And this is like little cutout stave. Got the angel share right there. They should be paying me for this shit. I'm gonna stop giving them free ads. Little looks like kilt fabric wool right there, then just pops in. Okay, let's go ahead and smell and taste these. Now, a lot of the bright vibrance is lost on the honey hole. I still get the definite banana nut bread, but the vibrance is lost. It's like all the beautiful sibilants, or sibilants? I think it's sibilants. The bright, shiny, glittery sounds in music, that's all gone. All the treble has been toned down. For those of you who are in music production, it's like somebody applied a high pass filter, or is it a low pass filter? I'm pretty sure high pass filter. The one that cuts off the highs. Okay. The Spice Jam has gotten a lot better on the nose. Less sharp, less heinous. A lot more baking spice. That's a consistent note I'm finding is baking spice becomes a lot more prominent on the nose. Somewhere along the line, somebody asked if any of these whiskeys got better when I added water. Who asked that? Somebody in the chat asked whether or not any whiskeys got better when I added water. Show yourselves. So, the McKenna 10 that I have did get better with water. The old Foresters I haven't decided yet. The Russell's Reserve did not get better with water. The Knob Creek was the most interesting one though because with a little bit of water it lost its bitterness but got more balanced. The Knob Creek with a lot of water got just straight up bitter. So it matters how much water you add with the Knob Creek in a big way. And you know what? I on the nose, several of these have gotten better, but the palate is where I really care. The only one thus far has been the McKenna 10. But let's find out if one of these Old Foresters got better on the palate with some water added. Definitely not on the Honey Hole. Honey Hole, no way. It just got weaker. It got a little bit more bitter. Did not get better. Let's try the Spice Jam. Well, the Spice Jam, I got a lot more something. Let me taste that one again. That might have gotten better. Yeah, it got way oakier. Ooh, the finish got a lot longer. Man. Okay, we're gonna have to side by side that because that one might have gotten better. The Honey Hole, no. Didn't get better. Matter of fact, the Honey Hole is at its best near the end of the bottle. And I always tell people this. You gotta know your whiskey, and sometimes it's good to have multiple bottles because you learn you can't finish some fast, and others you have to finish fast. Honey Hole, this is a great example. This bottle got so much better when it got lower. The lower this bottle got, the better it got. It needed to breathe a lot. A lot of bottles I have are the opposite, so good to know. It does not handle the water well. But it handles time really well. Okay, let's clear out these. I want to get an unbiased sample, which is bullshit. There's always bias. If anybody tells you something is unbiased, they're lying. Everything is bias. They just have different biases. There's your soapbox for the night. Nick says, interesting, is there a science to how many drops per ounce or anything, or just trial and error in what works? So I think the only science that for what I'm doing tonight, it's very rule of thumb. It's just I know 3 to 5 drops typically makes a difference. I look at how much is left in the glass. I try to do 3 to 5 drops. But from a scientific perspective, you basically want enough water to interact with the whiskey in such a way that it breaks down some of the chemical bonds, open up the esters, and brings about more flavor and scent notes. What that amount of water is something that's very hard to do without some serious nuanced experimentation, which is something that's very hard to do outside of a laboratory. and probably something that you'd only really do if you were trying to bottle mass quantities of a whiskey and figure out what your proof point was. But even that can very easily be done by trial and error, because people want different things from different whiskeys. So your master distiller may want a specific profile that doesn't align with some sort of teleological ideal of what a whiskey is supposed to taste like in this very capital T truth sense of like the ideal whiskey, the Platonic ideal of whiskey. I'm going to stop referencing philosophers any day now. But not today. Look up teleology if you don't know what it is. Teleology is really interesting. Teleos. Okay, let's do a side-by-side of Spice Jam. Spice Jam, no water. Spice Jam with some water added. Now what I'm going to do... So I've got a very small amount here. Very small. So I'm only going to add probably one. I'll add 2 drops. There we go. One big, one little drop. And by big, I mean standard size drop. And one is like a half drop. So 1.5 drops. Stir them both up. Control. Gotta control your variables. Tony Two Toes, evening, folks. What's in the glens tonight? Well, right now, Tony, I am doing a side-by-side of Old Forester Single Barrel Strength Spice Jam from Warehouse K, Floor 5, 63.85% alcohol, and one has water and one does not. We're going to see which one I prefer. I'll tell you what, the Honey Hole, the other Single Barrel Strength Old Forester I had, was terrible when you added water. This one required a second examination, so let's go for it. Okay. Pretty flat, and then kind of goes bitter. This is not my favorite Old Forester. This has gotten worse with age. The Honey Hole got much better over time. This has gotten worse. Okay, with water. This one got better. The bitterness is quieted. The sweetness really comes out. The baking spice comes out. It brightens a lot of the edges. It's doing sort of the exact opposite of what happened with the Honey Hole. The Honey Hole, the water really dulled the brightness and just made it more flat and more boring. The water on the Spice Jam, though, it really took away that bitterness and really just added complexity. It feels like the Spice Jam may have been a much more dense whiskey, and by that I essentially mean that the molecules... I'm really going to be talking about my ass right here. I'm not a scientist, but my understanding is that when you add water to something, in a whiskey in particular, what you're essentially doing is breaking up molecular bonds and allowing more individual esters to be showing up on the nose and on the palate in the whiskey and in the profile. So that's cool, though. Definitely better with some water added. That's only the second one tonight. That and the McKenna 10 are the only ones I've tested so far that I felt were better with water. Okay. Oh boy. Excuse me. So, we've tested... Do I have another glass up here? I do. Good. Great. Wonderful. So we've tested McKenna, which is Heaven Hill. We've tested... I'm making a little bit of a mess, but it's okay. It's just water. We've tested McKenna, which is Heaven Hill. We've tested Russell's Reserve, which is Wild Turkey. We've tested Old Forester, 2 different single barrel strengths. Is that all? We've tested Knob Creek, which is Beam. And now we're about to do a big old freaking test of Stag Junior. I have 4 different Stag Junior badges we're going to try this with. Buffalo Trace. Thank you, Tony Two Toes. You're taking the lipids out of suspension. That's where I was trying to go, and I explained it in a much less specific way. Yes. Thank you. When you've had this much high-proof whiskey, it gets hard to explain concepts like lipids and their suspension in a fluid. At least when you're not a scientist, which I am not. I'm an attorney, and I'm a whiskey drinker. Okay. Got 4 empty glasses. Well, almost empty. I get the water out of these for some reason. They're really struggling to get empty. Get empty. Okay. Do with the other one. Get empty. Power whiskey compels you. Okay. Let's do... Okay, so I've got batch 3. And I gotta say, I don't know who these samples came from anymore. I used to. I no longer do. So apologies to those who gave me these samples. Thank you for doing it. They will continue to be great use. Trevor says, I think it was Spice Jam on my Ice Sphere. Whichever it was, I liked it a lot better on ice. It probably was, Trev, because that was one of the few that really I thought stood up and then even got better with some water. So, Stag Jr. Tony Two Toes. If you try this with a chill filtered bourbon, water doesn't impact it as great as there are less of those fatty lipids. Very good point, Tony. That makes absolute sense. If you don't know, chill filtering is a process by where whiskey is cooled down and then filtered. And the reason it matters is, like Tony says, it pulls out a lot of the lipids and some other chemicals in the process of filtering the whiskey. And the reason that that's important and can be problematic is that, number one, when you lower the proof below 47%, then you're not going to have cloudiness in the whiskey. The fatty lipids are removed so they don't show up when you reduce the proof and get those out of suspension. The problem is those fatty lipids add flavor. They add character and nuance and subtlety and breadth. So you remove the fatty lipids, yeah, it's going to not look cloudy. It looks pretty, but that's really the only reason to do it. It's only really valuable for aesthetic purposes when you lower the proof. If you don't care about that, non-chill filter is the way to go. Now, what I've never been able to do yet is actually sit down with the exact same whiskey, non-chill filtered and chill filtered. I know people have done it. I have not had the chance to, but I think that's a fascinating experiment to get the chance to do because it's unclear to me how much of an impact that has on the flavor. Brian Ferguson, what's up, Trev? Brian's in the chat. Good to see you, Brian. All right. So, like I said before, I'll run it down once more while I'm filling these up. We found that the McKenna 10, Heaven Hill, got better with water. We found that the Russell's Reserve, Wild Turkey, got worse with water. We found interesting results from the Knob Creek out of Beam. The Knob Creek pick, which was 60%, a little bit of water. First off, water made it worse always, but a little bit of water took away the bitterness and just made it flat. And a lot of water made it just bitter, and all the other flavors kind of disappeared. And finally, with the Old Forester, we found that the Honey Hole single barrel strength pick that I have out of Big Red Liquors, it was meaningfully worse with water, better with time, worse with water. And the Spice Jam pick, also out of Big Red Liquors, they were sister picks, was much better with water. Tony Tuto says, do you have a chill filtered whiskey to test with? I think that McKenna is chill filtered. Usually they put on the label if it's non-chill filtered. But I unfortunately don't have a non-chill... I don't know really how to chill filter whiskey. I guess I could learn. But that seems like a lot of work. I might do it one day just for kicks. We'll see. Okay. So, I've got Stag Junior Batch 3, which is 132.1 proof. I've got Stag Junior Batch 4, which is 132.2 proof. I've got Stag Junior Batch 10, which is 126.4 proof, and I've got Stag Junior Batch 13, which is 128.4 proof. So now we're up in the 127, 129, 132. We're up there in proof now. This is the highest proof to date of any of them. So the lowest proof one on my table right now is as high as the highest proof one I've tried thus far. So this is, for me, really the heat. The heat is showing up. We're going to find out how it compares. So, Now, up to this point, I'm going to put this away. Okay, you guys know. Join the Patreon. If you want to shoot me some money, give me a Venmo, buy me a drink. I appreciate it. But you guys already know this stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. There we go. It's bothering me now. Okay, so normally I've been taking 3 sips out of all of these. Oh, I can use my handy-dandy Drink Pro coasters because I've got 4 of them, as do the patrons who got access to these. Put my Glens on my coasters. Boop. There you go. Motion sickness. Okay. So, got 4 here. I've been doing 3 sips with water and without water with everything I've tried thus far. I think if I do 3 sips of all of these twice, it's going to be a real problem. Mike Meyer, the heat is on. Glenn Fry, R.I.P. R.I.P. to Glenn. Cheers to that. I don't want to drink that yet. Cheers to that, my dump glass. Okay. So I'm not sure I want to do 24 drinks of Stag Junior right now. So we're going to just start with 1 sip of each. And if I feel like it's not enough, I'll go back and take a second sip. But we're going to smell all of them, give some basic notes, get some details, and then we'll come back and add a little bit of water to each. Okay, this is batch 3, 132.1 proof. Ooh, that is just all stingy. All sting on the nose. I mean, it's just hurt. I don't even know if there's much in there. And this is a criticism that's often leveled. This is a criticism that's often leveled against the early batches of Stag Junior, is that they are not very good. They're often very hot and out of balance and out of whack. So maybe water will do them some good. Because this thing just smells like ethanol. It's like ethanol and lemon, pledge, and cinnamon. Whew. I do not care much for that. Woof. Okay, number 4. This is only 0.1 proof point higher. So 0.2% alcohol higher. Now this one's a little more subtle. Got to clear up my nose a little bit. Ooh, there we go. Definitely more subtle. Definitely not as hot. Which is interesting because it's higher proof. But this one really has tons of baking spice for me. Which, given the track record of water bringing out the baking spice, could be good and it could be bad. It could make it overpowering or it could accentuate it in a positive way. Yeah, a lot of cinnamon, a lot of nutmeg and clove and ginger, all kinds of baking spices in this. This is really wonderful, guys. Batch 4 on the nose. I don't know if it's because it's been sitting, more than half empty sample bottle for a while, but this is overperforming compared to the large tasting that I did of them. And if you haven't checked it out, I've got a live stream where I taste 1 through 14 back to back. And if you're in the Patreon, if you're not, you should join patreon.com/thedrinkpro. You can see every single Stag Junior batch 1 through 15 individually reviewed and ranked comparatively. And if you don't want to spend the money, that's okay. Check out my Stag Junior Batch 15 review where I flash on the screen the chart showing all of the rankings. But it's more fun to get the Patreon and see the rankings. There's a little bit of ethanol when you take a big breath like that. Yeah, it starts to show up in an unpleasant way. A little bit, not sour, but just sort of chemically, Not really what you're wanting out of a whiskey. Initially, up front, the initial nosing was pretty solid on that Stag Junior Batch 4. The Batch 3 was just way out of whack. Let's try the Batch 10. Now, the Batch 10, when I did my initial review, it stood out. I really liked it. But we'll see how it handles water, and we'll see how it handles some more time in the bottle. Oh, wow, this is so much quieter. I mean, I understand it went from 132 proof to 126 proof, but wow, is this quieter on the nose. And I'm not mad about it, because getting rid of that ethanol burn, it really lets the brown sugar to show up. And the cherry. Brown sugar, black cherry, watermelon sugar high. Don't give me a... I don't need a copyright strike. I can't keep singing. Tony Tutos. Hey, bourbon baller, don't crap on others, enjoy their bourbon. He's not crapping on it. He's just saying that's too much for him. I think a lot of people would agree. If you like your GTS with water, then do you. But that is too much for me, too, I gotta say. Although I haven't... Some of the batches... So the 2019 doesn't need water. But some of those hotter, earlier batches... I don't complain when you boof Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Oh, Tony. That's pretty good, man. Yeah, but there's a lot more baking spice. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of baking spice on batch 4 of the Stag. But batch 10 is sweeter. It's more like spice cake. I get spice cake. I really want to taste that, but I haven't tasted any of them yet, so I really want to taste that, though. That's the best smelling by far. Okay, this is batch 13, 128.4. Oh, I don't know about that. Hold on. Okay, I don't know about this one, guys. Oh, that's pretty weak sauce. That is pretty weak sauce. The 10 is lower proof. The 10 is lower proof than the 13. Bourbon Baller, wait until you try it. It's probably quite the head rush. I don't know if do you guys remember when a couple of companies got the bright idea to do inhalable alcohol, and they created these little like bags and shit that you could like inhale ethanol and you would get instantly drunk. What they didn't account for was the fact that the reason people throw up when they drink too much alcohol is because your body can purge it. But if you inhale alcohol, your body cannot purge it. And so they had a bunch of people die from alcohol poisoning, and then they had to discontinue the product because there were too many product liability lawsuits. So my point is, don't breathe your alcohol. It's really dangerous. You can put ethanol into those little vape pens or like the vape cartridge things that are like shaped like a brick, but don't do it. Just drink your whiskey. You don't need to be drunk that bad. Get drunk the old-fashioned way, and if you drink too much, your body will respond accordingly. All right. Batch 13, I get more honey on, I guess. I get a little caramel, I guess. Black pepper. But it's so quiet. Go back to 10. Oh. When you go back to 10 after that, the cherry shows up. Bam! Just in your face. Cherry! That's what I like. It makes batch 4 smell terrible, to be honest. Oh, batch 3, boy. Batch 3. Batch 3 is just straight ethanol. It's really bad. What's up?
Let me know when you're ready for snack time.
Okay. Soon. All right. We're going to taste them all. 1 sip. Maybe 2 sips. Maybe 3 sips. Tony Two Toes. Anyone else have that problem when you get back from hunting and you have to crack into a new bottle you haven't had yet? Just me. It's not hunting for me, but if I go to a show, like a concert, or especially if it's like jazz or blues, those are my weaknesses. If I go to a jazz show or a blues show, I'll want to break into something tasty. I want to sip some whiskey and sing the blues. It's my jam. Okay, let's taste all these. I'm actually going to go backwards. I'm going to go 13, 10, 4, 3. So let's start with the 13. Light, gentle for a stag at least. Mid palate's very nutty. Bitter oak in the finish. It's pretty sweet throughout. Consistently like caramel corn sweet. Pretty short finish, to be honest with you. I'm gonna do 2 sips. I can't do 3, but I can do 2. Up front, you get some citrus. Citrus and the caramel corn starts, and then it lingers. Citrus goes away. Bitter oak shows up. Bitterness goes away. It's pretty okay. It's pretty okay. Let's go to the batch 10. Okay. The batch 10 is all crescendo. So you get the most flavor at the end. Early on, it's very quiet, subtle, sweet, soft, slightly lemon. Taking a second sip. A lot of S's there. Ooh, and then into the mid palate, you get the ginger and cinnamon. Pretty quiet. Then the oak hits, but it's not too bitter, but it's sweet oak, and then black pepper to linger. Okay. Ooh, it's a long finish. Long finish. I like that. Might do a 3rd sip of that, just a wee nip. Oh yeah. That's a cool one. That the crescendo on that. I really like the crescendo on that. That's cool. Okay, let's go batch 4. Oh, wow. Okay, so after tasting, this can happen. After tasting whiskeys, and you go back to smell a whiskey you've already smelt, sometimes it can really affect your perception. Batch 4, when I smelled batch 3 to batch 4 was really baking spice front forward so far. But man, it was a lot better on the nose after trying 13 and 10. Oh, that's super citrusy. Oh, wow. It gives me a lot of citrus fruit. Lemon zest, slight orange up front. Mid palate, you get like grape skins, bitter oak, very bitter mid palate. See, that's the thing. It starts beautifully, but it gets really bitter mid palate, and then no finish, none whatsoever. Here, you can put those right here.
One is frozen. Should I put it back in the freezer?
No. Well, no. So we will address this in a moment. Is this 3?
I mean, the peach is just because it needed to eat.
Okay.
So take it or leave it.
Okay. We'll talk about what just happened in a moment. Yeah, so the front of the palate for batch 4 is by far my favorite, but then the mid palate and finish by far my least favorite. Number 3. Ugh! Why? Why is it like that? Super ethanol, really sharp, like citrus, but like a sickly citrus, like you're drinking Lemon Pledge kind of citrus. No finish whatsoever. Oh my god. Oh, batch 3 is just a mistake. So Tony Tuto says, which batch is in the forefront thus far? I think thus far I've got to go 10, 13, 4, 3. That's my order, but we'll see how water changes it. Matter of fact, okay, so I'm going to get all these down to the same amount of whiskey so I can add the same amount of water. I think you get the idea. Okay, perfect. Now, these are all very small tastes, so I'm just going to add a drop. Okay, so that was 1 drop of whiskey, 1 drop of water to each of these glasses of whiskey, because they are the teeniest, tiniest of tastes left. And we're just going to pop them back and see how it goes. We'll give those a moment to breathe, to stir in. I'm going to drink some more water. I love it. Tony Tuto's taking the piss out of me. I'm going to get these down to the same amount of whiskey code 4. I'm going to drink more. You're not wrong. But importantly, I do not intend to pour more of these. I may have to, but I do not intend to. Oh, shit. Okay. All right. So, we're doing them in the same order. I'm not going to give a lot of smelling notes, just real quick. Both of those got worse. Excuse me. So the only one that got better on the nose with water was number 3. Everything else got meaningfully worse. So let's shoot these back, and then we'll talk a little bit about something cool that's about to happen. So batch 13, it just kind of lost a little bit of its early and late flavors. The mid palate got a little bit less bitter, more cinnamon and oak and sweet oak, but not that meaningfully different. Tony Tutos, love you, man. Great stream. I appreciate it, Tony. Cheers, brother. This is batch 10. Ooh, that got meaningfully worse. Much more bitter. Oh, whoa, no. Oh, wow. So, one of the things I really liked about 10 was the crescendo. And the crescendo just got broken. And so, it's got no start, mid palate, and then this awful, bitter chocolate, like tanniny oak. Doesn't have the breadth, doesn't have the depth. The sweetness is gone. Whoa, 10 got meaningfully worse. Okay, let's try batch 4. Okay, now batch 4 is interesting because the ethanol is very much there. So think about like a light whiskey. Matter of fact, think about the Obtainium. If you've had this stuff, you know that it's got an ethanol component. And that ethanol component is not overpowering, but it's there. So if you can't deal with an ethanol flavor whatsoever, don't drink it, don't buy it. But if you can deal with it, there's so much other good stuff in it, it's worth buying. And I gotta say, the batch 4, when you add a little bit of water, a fruity note comes out, the cherry starts to come out, and I mentioned on the nose the fruit came out. It also came out on the palate, which is honestly pretty uncommon. It's pretty uncommon in my experience for you to get more of the same note both on the nose and in the palate when you change something about a whiskey. Wow, so that got meaningfully better. Let's try batch 3. Cheers. I love the science of it too, Tony. It's fun. Oh. Oh. Why? Why? Why is that like that? That is so terrible. It got no better. It got no worse. It's just as bad. It's all ethanol. Maybe it lost some complexity. I don't know. That's goddamn terrible. Okay, so what have we learned? I think the batch 10, if memory serves, which I'm very deep into these pours, so it might not, but if memory serves, my initial ranking was 10, 13, 4, 3. My ranking now is 13, 4, 10, 3. So 4 got better, 10 got meaningfully worse, and 3 stayed at the bottom. It was still terrible, and 13 definitely got better, but I think 10 got more bad and 4 got more good. The movement on 13 was small. So there's your science. If Yolanda can hear me, I hope she'll come in here real quick. I don't know if she can hear me or not, but I would love for her to come in here and join me for a brief moment and explain what this is so I can have a brief interlude.
AKA, he's got to pee. And never fails. I'm here once a stream to cover for him because he has no plans for intermissions. So we have first of all, we're lactose intolerant, so we can't eat dairy. So he has a coconut-based snickerdoodle ice cream, and then we have some organic kettle-cooked plantain chips that are spicy mango salsa. And then we had half a peach left over from dinner, so he has sliced peaches as well. I hope he enjoys his ice cream because it's gotten kind of melty sitting here. Hi, Tony Two Toes.
So, for those of you who haven't seen this before, this is a relatively recent addition to the streams where Yolanda brings me various foods and I have to try to pair whiskeys with them. And usually I sort of do my main video theme and then this will come in after. Although I will say I've got one more series of whiskeys to add water to. And we will do these after this interlude with food pairing. But I've already hit this distillery, so that's going to be later. For now, I'm going to put these stags away. But what we learned is there was one stag that got better. Actually, there were two. The 13 got very slightly better. But the batch 4 got meaningfully better with a touch of water. So,
do you need me to walk you through what's on your plate, or did you hear me?
I didn't hear you. I think, well, this is snickerdoodle ice cream. These are
coconut milk based.
Coconut milk snickerdoodle ice cream. These are plantain chips, mango salsa flavor.
Spicy mango salsa.
And then peaches.
And then peaches.
Okay. And Tony says, no, and all on a child's plate separated from each other. I am a child at heart, so absolutely. Bourbon Bar says Cleveland. I highly doubt it. That will be drank, though, in the near future.
I hope you like the mango or the plantain chips because I literally can't eat them. So.
Where'd they all go?
It was a very small bag.
These are really boring. They're fine.
That's sad.
They're just like very plain.
Like their ingredients sound like they would be great.
They desperately need salt.
Sea salt's the second ingredient.
Wait a minute. I know I got some salty whiskey down here somewhere.
Nate says, yes, the science of whiskey. Eat weird-ass food and see what tastes good with it. And
Where are my salty whiskeys, woman?
I don't know. I will never fail to bring the weird food.
Ugh, that's quite spicy.
Oh, so is it still boring?
Got the back of the throat.
So no longer boring. Your sea spray or whatever it was called was on the bottom.
My sea spray?
I don't know what it's called.
What's my sea spray?
Spray S-P-Y. I don't drink whiskey!
I'm gonna get my sea spray. Hold on a minute.
I know where the ocean spray is.
Alright. I don't know what sea spray is.
Alright. That boxes. So, Lagavulin 8. It's very bright. It's got some of that sea brine, salty. Man, the color on that is so light for an 8-year after drinking all this 8-year-old fucking bourbon. Look how light that is. Okay, we're gonna eat a couple of these chips and then taste it. I think this will pair really well, honestly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the saltiness of the whiskey adds the saltiness to the chip. That's really nice. But then you get these kind of waves of flavor. You get sweetness. You get mango. You get heat. You get smoke. Oh, that's actually really good. That's a good pairing. First time's a charm. I don't usually get it on the first try, but on that one, that's a winner. That's one of those situations where the complementary flavors fit in the correct places in the palate, so you get one, then the other, then the other, then the other, and it bounces back and forth, and it just makes something beautiful. All right, that's awesome. Let's clear my palate here. I'm gonna eat a peach, clear my palate. So, to let you guys know, the 3 Booker's batches that I'm gonna be doing. Number 1. Come on. Why won't this focus? Like, there's nothing. There you go. Backyard Barbecue, 64.4%, 2018-02. Oh, this is going to be hard. 2015-06, No Secret, 64.05. And Teresa's batch, 62.95, 2019-01. We're going to see which one water makes the most better. All right. Let's try this not ice cream. I think she said it was Snickerdoodle. Oh, it's in my... Oh, no. Oh, no. It's all over me. Oh, wow. That's really good. That's really good ice cream, guys. Holy shit. Uh-oh, I gotta focus on making a whiskey pairing. That's too tasty. That tastes just like cookies. That tastes just like Snickerdoodle cookies. Alright. Now let me think about this.
Snickerdoodle ice cream, or cookie crumbles in it.
Let me think about this. What would pair well with Snickerdoodle cookies? I feel like you need something that's not just going the sweet angle, because it's going to get demolished by this sweetness. So let's try and do something different. You know, the sweetness could make some of the Old Forester products really shine. But I kind of also feel like a rye could pair really well with it. Nate thinks Booker's will pair well with it. I don't think so. I think this actually really calls for a lower proof whiskey. Needs to be lower proof. It needs to be not sweet focused. This is tricky. You know what? I got it. Elijah Craig 18. It's low proof. It's not sweet focused. I think this is going to be the one. Let's try it. Here we go. That's it. I'm not usually this good at this. I'm usually not nearly this lucky. But so Elijah Craig 18, it definitely has a hint of sweetness, but what the real focus is making a sweet oak that's not bitter. That's the focus. And when you mix it with this ice cream, the sweetness is intensified, and then you get this lovely oak cookie vibe. So, I'm a big fan. I'm just a big fan of this ice cream. That's good stuff. That's way better than the chips. Man. I'm going to get every drop of that ice cream. Okay. Let's put the Elijah Craig away. Well, I doubt I'm going to go 3 for 3. So, we're going to pair with these peaches. I don't know how it's going to go. So, peaches. After that ice cream, these do not taste sweet at all. They just taste kind of citrusy. What would pair well with peaches?
If you win at the peaches, you have a 4th one.
I don't know if you guys heard that. If I win the peaches, I've got a 4th one, I'm hearing.
Because you're not normally this good at this.
No, I'm not.
So normally, the reason the limit is 2 is because he ends up having to drink like 4 different whiskeys at the minimum.
I don't know if they can hear you or not.
I don't know if they can either. I'm trying to project, but I'm not exactly a loud person.
All right. That's kind of subtle. It's subtle. It's orchard fruit. And Nate says Redbreast 27 would go nice with those peaches. I'm sure it would, but I do not have my bottle yet, Nate. Oh, what do I have? What do I have for the peaches? Oh, man. I don't know. This is a tricky one. I may have to run to the other room and just kind of look around. We may have to bring Yolanda back in here to entertain the crowd. Bourbon Baller says, a bourbon with molasses and caramel flavor. I think that's a good idea, Bourbon Baller. Mike McAllister says, you still got to try the 27, Nate. You do. You do, Mike. Yolanda! Come entertain the people! I don't care.
You were supposed to get peanuts, not cashews.
Peanuts are cashews.
Hi, I'm still cooking for tomorrow. Well, prepping. I'm going to combine all the ingredients tomorrow because I don't want our salad to get soggy. I assume he's looking for something. I really want to try one of these chips, but they're mango flavored. And I'm super allergic to mango, so... Also, you can't really see me. Can I leave now? I'm really bubbling over with energy.
So my guess. Smell that.
I mean, it does smell like it would probably go with the peaches.
Let's give it a shot.
Hi, Mike McAllister.
It does!
Alright. Doom round.
Oh, man.
You asked for it.
Oh, I almost flipped the table. That's actually really freaking good, guys. Holy crap. So, this is J.W. Kelly Golden Age. It's a young rye. I think it's 2 years old. It's got malted barley and malted rye in it. 65% malted 65% rye, 20% malted barley, 15% malted rye, 94 proof, 2 years old. It's the best 2-year-old rye I've ever tried. It's like $30, worth it all damn day.
You're not supposed to be good at this.
Wow, this is good. It brings out the citrus notes in the rye. The sweetness of the peach and the fruitiness of the peach really complement that rye grain and the sweetness and the citrus notes in that rye spice. Wow. That's actually one of the better pairings I've ever done, to be honest. I think that's one of my favorites. If I ever throw this in a tasting, I'm going to pair it with peaches. Okay. Now, Yolana's got a fourth one for me.
You're not going to like this one.
She says I'm not going to like it. All right, what do you got? Hit me.
Chocolate non-dairy pudding.
Chocolate pudding. Non-dairy, because my body hates me.
It's not good.
I mean, it just tastes like chocolate almond goo.
Well, okay. So
I know right where to go with this one.
When
though.
I first
I
bought
got one
it,
right away.
Good for you. When I first bought it, I made the mistake of eating it warm. And that was a mistake because I ate it in my car on our way to our new house.
All right, I got two ideas. First one is Woodford Double Oak. I get a lot of chocolate from Woodford Double Oak. I get a lot of chocolate from this one. And I really think it's going to pair well with this weird pudding squirter. Okay. No, so the oak is too sharp in this. And that sharp oak really makes a bitterness prominent that you don't want from your chocolate dairy-free pudding.
Mike, stop putting words in my mouth.
Mike says Yolanda wants to try peated scotch in the stream while you were gone. Grant or wish, Kyle. I would, except I don't want Yolanda to throw up tonight, so we're going to pass. So my second option, which I'm feeling notably less confident in after that experience, is the Woodford Double Oaked. 2019, 45.2%, 375 milliliter. But we're going to try it. We're going to try it. Okay, here we go. That one works. That one works. So the bitterness is a lot more muted on the double. And you get this nice sweetness and oakiness. And the cocoa comes through on the chocolate. That one works pretty well, actually. Yeah. I dig that. Okay. Let's put these aside. And move all these bottles. Oh, boy. What a stream. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you aren't already, please consider joining the Patreon. Patreon.com/thedrinkpro. Would help me out immensely. $3 a month. Lots of bonus content. You can go even higher and get cool access to bottles. If you want to buy me a drink, Venmo at the Drink Pro. If you want to buy me food, which I'm going to need more of after this, Venmo at the Drink Pro. I'll leave that going for a little bit. Okay, let's... I'm going to set up here... Oh, that's got, like, chocolate on it. I'm going to set up here for the final tasting of the night, which is 3 different Booker's batches. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing with several other bottlings, which is... Ooh, I moved the camera there. Which is to drink it, and then add water, and then drink it again, and see how water changes it. Now, thus far, water has made better the Old Forester Single Barrel Strength Spice Jam, the McKenna 10-year that I have, and 2 of the Stag Junior batches, batch 13 and batch 4. But batch 4 was made meaningfully better, and batch 13 was made very slightly better. Batch 10 was made meaningfully worse. Batch 3 was just always bad. Honey Hole was worse, which is an Old Forester Single Barrel Strength. It was worse when you added water. And I think the most interesting one of the night, well, okay, the Russell's Reserve was worse when you added water, but the most interesting one of the night was the Knob Creek Single Barrel Pick 60 proof, 60%, 120 proof, which was a little bit blander with a touch of water and way more bitter. The bitterness went away and it got bland with a little water. The bitterness showed up in droves with a lot of water. Okay. So I've got 3 glasses. We're going to clean them out. We're going to drink the water. And then we are going to pour out some motherfucking Bookers. That's how I do it, guys. How I do it. Thank you all for being here, drinking with the Drink Pro on a Thursday night. It's a thirsty Thursday. I'm a thirsty boy. It's going to be a great weekend. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, I done fucked up, guys. So, the glassware in front of me has become smoky. Because one of these glasses was what I used for that Lagavulin 8-year, which I paired with the mango salsa plantain chips, and it has ruined all of the glasses because I wasn't paying enough attention. So, I am going to call an audible and find some more glasses. If Yolanda can hear me, she'll bring me another glass. I hope. I've got 2 more here, so I only need 1 more Glen to be able to actually do this test.
Where are they?
Oh, I don't know if you can reach them. I just thought of that. Bourbon Baller says, pour one out for Biz Marquee. I mean, I don't have any place to pour one out, or I would. I'm not going to pour it on my carpet. It's just not going to happen today.
I'm not that short.
I don't know. You're pretty short.
Yeah, but I have an arm reach of like almost 7 feet.
Well, thank you.
I can reach taller than your head.
Here, take these.
No.
Please? All right. All right, we got 3 glasses. I love how as the night goes on and I get weirder and weirder, we always lose people in the streams. I shouldn't love that, but I kind of do. I'm a weird fella, and I'm just going to be who I'm going to be. 2015-06, this is no secret, 64.05%. Is that a glass? Pow. This is, oh no, we good. This is Backyard Barbecue now. This is actually the first Booker's I've ever bought. This particular bottle also. 2018-02, 64.4%. Uh-oh. There we go. And finally, Teresa's batch. This was a gift. I think Yolanda got me this bottle. 62.95%, 2019-01. Okay. Now, okay. Now, these are, the ages on these are pretty similar. So, the No Secret is 6 years, 8 months, and then they put days on here. I don't know if I buy that shit. 64.05, 6 years, 8 months. 64.4, 6 years, 2 months. 62.95, 6 years, 3 months. So they're all 6 years and between 2 and 8 months. 64.05 on the No, 64.4 on the Backyard, 62.95 on the Teresa. So Teresa's is meaningfully lower proof. But that does not mean much because Teresa's is sort of notoriously outside of the standard profile. So we'll see how it goes. Now, right off the bat, on the nose, I definitely preferred of the three the Backyard Barbecue on the first smell. But we're going to give you more notes, and we're going to talk about each of them. So, starting off with No Secret. This is definitely sweeter. Tons of caramel. Sweet, lots of caramel. A little bit of lemon zest. Ooh, a little hot. It's not bad, but it's not particularly interesting. It doesn't really stand out to me. I actually brought this bottle to a tasting, and people went wild for it. And the majority of this bottle was drank by my friends at a whiskey tasting. They were very thankful that I brought it, but for me, it's just okay, to be honest. Get a slight honey roasted peanut. I mean, I feel like I'm trying to find something more than I'm actually finding. There's just not that much for me on the nose of this. Yeah, honey, lemon, honey roasted peanut. Not that interesting. Okay, Backyard Barbecue. Now, right off the bat, I do get that smokiness. I get the charcoal, which is not something you typically get in bourbon. It's very subtle, but I get a lot of... this is not as sweet as No Secret, but it's got more baking spice for sure. Less citrus, but... it's still present, but it's more like tangerine and less like lemon. The honey is sort of replaced by a deeper sweetness. Maybe like brown sugar. Yeah, I get like oranges and brown sugar. Tangerines and brown sugar. And clove. Clove shows up. Okay. Finally, Teresa's batch. Now, Teresa's batch is totally different. Totally different. I mean, this thing... I mean, my nose might be deceiving me, but I'm not getting much off this, to be honest. We're going to go in deep here. I mean... none of the sweetness, first off. And I know it's 1.5% alcohol, but it seems like a lot less than that. Like, I'm taking big, meaningful breaths of this, and it's still just not really affecting me. Maybe a very subtle, like, navel orange. Some lavender in there, which is subtle but nice and herbal. Now, sort of, peanut is one of the notes that often comes up with Booker's. It just so happens that none of these batches are particularly peanutty. In fact, the Teresa's batch is the most peanutty of the three, which is really uncommon. If you compare it to pretty much any other Booker's batch in the last 4 or 5 years, you're probably going to get more peanut than I'm getting tonight on these 3 particular pours. But it's just not showing up, except slightly on the Teresa's batch. All right. Let's taste these, and once again, I'm going to do 2 tastes of each, and then we'll add water and do 2 more tastes of each. So this is No Secret. Yolanda's rolling her eyes at my notes. No Secret is pretty bitter. I get a lot of bitter oak. I just get tons of oak. And maybe, maybe the people that I went to that tasting with, they love that oakiness. I'm pretty hit or miss on that kind of oakiness. Let's taste it again. Okay. The orange and apple and citrus and sweetness come through on the mid palate, or early, first palate. Mid palate, though, you get that wave of bitterness. Cinnamon shows up. Long finish. Long, peppery finish with that bitter oak lingering. It's alright. Probably not my favorite, though. It's so funny. When I brought that to a tasting, people just absolutely went apeshit over it. It's just okay in my book. Okay. This is Backyard Barbecue, which is typically one of my favorites. So let's taste it. That's what I want. Yep. I might have to take more than... Okay, I can't. Okay. So, hint of nuttiness up front. Lots of orange and apple and other fruits in the mid palate. The finish is nutty and oaky and peppery. You get a little bit of bitterness front of the palate into the mid palate, but it dissipates very quickly. Black pepper really shows up. Dark chocolate shows up in the mid palate. Ooh, man, that pepper. You get that really sharp pepper in the mid palate into the finish. That is a very complex pour. A lot happening in that pour. You could spend 30 minutes just analyzing that pour, to be honest. I don't really have that kind of... Well, I mean, I guess I could just sit here for 30 minutes and analyze that pour. What do you guys think? Should I sit here for 30 minutes and analyze that pour? Let's take a sip of water and then do Teresa's batch. Okay, Teresa's batch. Okay, meaningfully different than the others. Not getting the oak spice or the oak or the barrel tannins at all. Very light, sweet. Light sweet citrus up front. Mid palate is herbal as fuck. It's grassy. I get like thyme and maybe like sage. The finish is long and herbal, slightly bitter. Yeah, there's just no peanuts, no oak. Like, people really were disappointed in Teresa's batch because it was so different. But I gotta say, I kind of respect that because they wanted something that represented what Teresa would like, and she wanted something different than the standard Booker's. So, like, hats off to you. Not my go-to, though. So, okay. So, we're gonna add some water. We're gonna go through them and see how it goes. Now, because of the amount of whiskey I've got in these glasses, I'm going to add 3 drops of water. Okay. Now, oh, I almost spilled Teresa, but I didn't spill Teresa. Okay. So, we're going to start with No Secret. Ooh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. That just got way more bitter. Oh. Oh. I'm going to take another sip, but a small one, because wow, that got way more bitter. Yeah, sweetness and nuttiness up front immediately moves to the bitterness, and that bitter lingers, and it is strong, and it is not pleasant at all. Oh my gosh. Thank God the finish is short on that. Do not add water to No Secret. That is terrible. Okay. This is Backyard Barbecue, which was my favorite pre-water. Ooh, the water really brings out that citrus and those sharp notes and a little bit of the rye spice. Brings out too much bitterness in the mid palate too. Oh, and it makes the finish way too short. Yeah, the water really doesn't do good for the Backyard Barbecue either. It just kind of kills what makes it unique. It's a very complex pour. It's sweet. It's dense. It evolves more without water. I'll take another sip here. Yeah. Yeah, the Backyard Barbecue really is best without water. So that leaves Teresa's batch. Let's see how water affects it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a lot better with water. I think without water, my profile goes Backyard Barbecue, Teresa's batch, No Secret. With water, No Secret, still pretty low, maybe even lower. It gets quite bitter. Backyard Barbecue, though, falls to second, and Teresa's batch pulls out ahead. And I think it's more because Teresa's batch gets better with water. The herbalness becomes less bitter. The sweetness shows up more. The citrus is less bright and gets mellowed out. It really balances the pour out in a very nice way. And it still tells the story. It still has a nice long finish. It's still herbal. It's still sweet. It's still doing everything Teresa's batch is doing. But all the sharpness in places I don't like it is gone. So that brings the total tally of whiskeys that got better with water to 4. So Teresa's batch Bookers, the Stag batch 4, actually 5. Stag Junior batch 4 and Stag Junior batch 13 got slightly better with water, but Stag Junior batch 4 got meaningfully better. The ones that got meaningfully better are the Teresa's batch Bookers, the Stag Junior batch 4, the Old Forester single barrel strength, what is it? Spice, what is it called? Spice Jam. And the McKenna 10. My particular single barrel of the McKenna 10. So, that was cool. That was cool. I definitely learned something from that. Which is always, a positive in my book. So, I think I'm going to have to call it a night. I've had a lot of whiskey. I'm going to go get some food. You guys keep drinking like professionals. Thank you so much for being a part of this. It means the world to me. You guys can join the streams. Please consider joining the Patreon if you are able. It really helps me out. $3 a month at the lowest level, and you get a lot of bonus content. Matter of fact, there may be something tomorrow. It'll just be for the patrons. Check it out. Keep an eye on for that. My patrons are going to get some cool shit tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. So if you aren't a patron, get in that organization. Patreon.com/thedrinkpro. $3 a month gets you all that bonus content. I'm going to get out of here. I got to go. Y'all keep drinking like professionals. Cheers.